My core expertise is in sales performance transformation. I help salespeople to quickly transform the way they sell so they can have more success, have less stress, and have more financial freedom and achieve both their professional and personal goals faster than they thought possible. Hey, I'm a sales guy, and I've been in sales my entire professional career. I started out as a rookie sales rep for a telecommunications company doing the hardest sales there is. I was responsible for selling new business into companies and displacing incumbents who had been there for a decade and longer. And I had to do all of my own lead generation and prospecting. And this was before online resources were available, so it was an intensive manual effort. And although it was a very hard and stressful role, it had significant financial upside if you were successful. But if I didn't kill it, I wasn't eating. And my company invested heavily into their salespeople. They had great product and sales training and a widely accepted sales methodology and sales process that we worked from. And I worked long hours, and I was executing exactly how I was taught and told to do. I was performing all the right sales activities. I was extremely knowledgeable about our products and our services. And I even knew my competitors' products and services better than their own reps. And I could give great presentations. I conducted role plays, and I was very confident in my sales abilities, but I was still losing much more than I was winning. And I couldn't enjoy the wins I had because I was under constant stress to hit my quota every month. But although I was having moderate success, it was really frustrating and discouraging because I wasn't getting the real knowledge I needed to get better and win more deals than I was losing. Now, the advice I got from my management for improvement was this. First, just keep doing what you're doing and get more deals into your pipeline. And if you keep your win rates the same, you're going to win more deals. And the second was to just be patient because I would get better with more experience. Well, neither of these made any sense to me whatsoever. And if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, I'm a classic INTJ. If there's a problem or challenge I need to overcome, I am overly analytical to solve it, and I won't stop until it is solved. If there's a way to improve a system or process, I'm going to find it. And I'm driven by logical reasoning and complex problem solving. So their solutions to my challenges were totally illogical to me. I mean, if you're losing more deals than you're winning, then keeping with that same strategy wasn't going to be the answer. I interpreted that as just keep putting more money in the slot machine and pulling the lever as fast as you can. And although you're going to keep losing a lot, you'll have more chances to win. And I thought that was just insane advice. And I knew it couldn't be more experience that was needed because there were many good, solid professional reps in the company with much more experience than I had who were doing things exactly the way that they were taught and told, and they weren't consistently hitting their quota. What I came to learn was that they didn't really know how to teach salespeople how to win more than you lose. And isn't that what sales should really be all about? See, most companies are not equipped to teach their salespeople the true skills and knowledge needed for sustained overachievement. Instead, they pick a sales methodology and create a sales process to manage the masses. It's basically a one-size-fits-all approach, but I knew it wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be. So even though I was well regarded by my management, I was extremely frustrated because I knew there had to be a better way. And right at this point of immense frustration, I was so fortunate to meet one of the top salespeople in the world, literally. He was the #1 rep for a multi-billion-dollar Fortune 5 company, and he took me under his wing, he mentored me, and he taught me the real secrets to being successful in sales and how to become what I call an elite salesperson, those in the top 5% of not just their companies, but their entire industries. And what I learned from him helped me to increase my win rates to 85% within 6 months, to significantly overachieve my quota for 13 straight years as a rep, and then as a sales manager, to be able to go on some fantastic sales recognition trips all around the world and make literally millions of dollars in commissions and bonuses. Now, after working in a sales leadership roles for a couple of highly recognized and successful companies, I decided to become more independent. I had spent most of my career to that point helping companies grow by aligning and optimizing sales execution with corporate strategy. Basically, I was the guy people would go to when they needed fast growth or to turn around a company that was not achieving their revenue and EBITDA objectives. So how did I do that? Well, first, I believe the sales organization is the most important function within any business. And second, I know for a fact that any problem or challenge facing a company can be overcome by a high-performing sales organization. And the way I help companies to quickly grow profitable revenue is not by turning over the sales force and implementing new sales methodologies and processes, but rather by getting the most out of the salespeople that already work there, by unleashing their full potential and helping them to perform at a level that they are truly capable of achieving. I create sales organizations where the majority of salespeople are overachieving quota and not just the top 10 to 15%. You see, there is a pervasive fundamental problem within the sales industry today, and it is this. 2/3 of all salespeople are not consistently hitting their quota and earning what they are capable of achieving. 2/3. They lose on average 6 times more deals than they win. In the US alone, $3 billion is spent every year on corporate sales training to help salespeople perform better. But extensive research confirms that success rates among salespeople is not improving and has actually declined. And Hubspot conducted a survey of 200 enterprise locations and found that they had spent $66 billion on sales enablement and yet saw no productivity increase from their sales organization, meaning it didn't help them sell more. So it shouldn't be a surprise that a recent study of over 5,000 salespeople found that 67% of them were unhappy in their current position, and half of those were either actively looking or planning to look for another job. No other profession has such a high failure rate or percentage of people who are waking up every morning and not happy going to work. Tens of thousands of salespeople are going to work each day and doing what is being asked of them and executing exactly how they are being managed, yet they are still failing. Now, many people find these statistics to be astounding, but I don't. You see, the majority of salespeople who are failing are doing so because of the way they have been taught to sell and how they are being managed to their company's sales process and methodology. All of the training and sales enablement and new sales methodologies are not helping salespeople to be more productive and effective and win more deals, period. And those companies hate it when I say that, but the failure rates and statistics speak for themselves. However, there is one thing I do know for certain. Great salespeople always find a way to succeed. These elite reps have win rates of 80% and higher, and they out-earn their peers by average of 3 to 1. They have less stress, they are happier, and they work fewer hours than other salespeople, and they are able to retire much faster. And these ultra-high performers have reached this level of success by not just blindly following the sales methodologies, training, and sales processes taught by their company and doing what their management has told them they need to do to be successful. They sell differently because they have found resources outside of what their company provides to help them to achieve their success. They all realize that to be self-made, you need to be self-taught. And that is exactly what happened with me. I was just lucky to have met my mentor years ago, early in my career, who showed me what I really needed to do to have an ultra-high level of sustained success in sales. And what he taught me wasn't being taught by my company or my management. I've spent almost 2 decades studying the habits and traits of elite salespeople, and here's what I discovered. They all follow the same principles that my mentor taught me. And what I discovered is that the way that I sold and the way these elite salespeople sell is really a system with a framework that can be replicated by virtually anyone in sales, regardless of their level of experience, their age, their industry, their background, their previous level of success. Any salesperson can get exponentially better faster than they thought possible. Now, through my research and working directly with thousands of salespeople, I discovered 3 critical elements they all had in common to reaching elite sales status, and a framework that they all follow to successfully integrate these 3 elements into their selling. Now, the first is that there are 4 levels of sales performance evolution that all salespeople go through. These 4 levels are broken down into 5 key elements of growth and performance, which are: first, where does the salesperson spend the majority of their focus? Next, what is their desired outcome? Then, what is their selling goal? What is their perception the prospect or customer has of them? And finally, what support do they need to get to that next level? And the second critical element I discovered is that there are 4 key performance factors for sales, and how quickly someone evolves along the 4 levels of sales evolution is tied directly to their level of competency in each of those 4 key performance factors. And the third critical element I discovered is this: the gap in competency of these 4 key performance factors between average and good and great salespeople is not that significant. Just because someone may sell twice as much or make twice as much income than another rep doesn't mean they're twice as good. And there are usually just narrow gaps in competency across the 4 key performance factors, which cumulatively combine to create the big gap in performance. But once someone focuses on closing those gaps in just small increments, they can quickly see dramatic improvements in their results. So this is how I am able to get sales organizations to grow so quickly, by getting a majority of the salespeople to follow this system of improvement, and collectively it creates dramatic results for both the salesperson and the organization as a whole. It's no more complicated than that, and any salesperson can do it as long as they possess 3 things. They have to be smart, they have to be hungry, and they have to be humble. They have to be smart enough to accept that following the same approach they have been using isn't working, and learn a better way to sell. They need to be hungry, meaning they have to have very specific goals they want to achieve by specific dates that have intense connection to intrinsic needs they want to fulfill. Because doing so will hold them accountable at all times and push them through those times of adversity and times when they tend to procrastinate and fall back into old habits. And finally, they have to be humble enough to accept that they need to improve the way they have been doing things, regardless of their level of experience or what they think should work, which is usually more comfortable and it feels safer to them. If someone has those 3 traits, smart, hungry, and humble, then I promise they can become an elite salesperson faster than they thought possible and progress to the next stage in the sales evolution model. Now notice that I called it a sales evolution model and not a sales maturity model. You see, how quickly someone evolves up the model is not dependent on their age or length of time at any level. For example, if they are currently at level 2 and get to level 3, they don't need to stay at level 3 for several months or years before going to level 4, which is the highest level of elite sales status. How quickly they get to level 4 is totally dependent on how driven they are to succeed. That's it. It is no more complicated than this. So this begs the obvious question: why aren't companies teaching their salespeople this method? Why do they keep spending billions of dollars each year and firing and hiring new salespeople, and yet get little to no improvement? Well, it comes down to 3 things. Now first, you may have heard that sales is a numbers game. It isn't really, but that's how companies manage their sales organizations. First, companies hire on average 65% more salespeople than they actually need. They build their internal sales models expecting failure rates of 75% from the salespeople, because they know that less than half of the salespeople will achieve quota, but that doesn't really matter because a $100,000 deal sold by someone who's 35% of quota is worth the same to them as a $100,000 deal sold by someone who's 235% of quota. So they have to build their internal sales models this way because they don't have the resources to teach each salesperson what they actually need to learn to get better, which leads to the second problem. Companies are teaching their salespeople bad selling habits and techniques and implementing failed sales methodologies processes, and training. It's basically a one-size-fits-all methodology that works great in the classroom setting or internal role play, but doesn't work consistently in the field. Again, the sales methodology companies hate hearing me say that, but the actual sales statistics don't lie. And if these two weren't bad enough, a recent study by a leading sales consulting firm found that over 70% of companies are trying to execute with the wrong go-to-market sales strategy. So what does all this mean for just the average salesperson? Well, it means that there's a very high probability that they are working for a company that is trying to execute to a failed sales strategy, has more reps than they actually need competing for territories and accounts. They have an ineffective sales process and methodology that they are being managed to every day, and they're getting little to no effective sales training and coaching to help them to improve. And when the sales numbers are not being hit, who's the first to get blamed? That's right, the salesperson. Now, through my extensive consulting with companies, I've sat in the boardrooms with the executive teams, and senior leaders always blame the sales organization when numbers are missed. Their solution is to get new sales leaders, fire the non-performing reps, and implement some new sales system or methodology. And this happens all the time, all over the world. Every 2 to 3 years, there's usually a big purge, a major reorganization or turnover within sales organizations. And it is all completely unnecessary. Now, they all hate my conclusions, but here's the simple proof that they simply can't deny. The top salespeople in their own organizations don't sell this way. They don't perform a bunch of useless activities and fill their pipelines with bad prospects and have low close rates. They learned that this is not the way to sustain sales success. They have learned on their own or have been fortunate enough to have a mentor like I did who taught them what they really need to do to be successful in sales. Like I said earlier, they have all learned that to be self-made, they need to be self-taught. Every single elite salesperson was a level 1 at some point on the sales performance evolution model. But they focused on improving the critical growth elements which got them to become ultra-high performers. So I decided to stop doing consulting for companies and devote all my time and energies to what I am most passionate about, which is individual sales performance and helping salespeople who are committed to their improvement and achieving their fullest potential. I am really excited about 1% Selling 2.0. The feedback from the users of the original program and the folks who've gone through the test groups for the new version has been phenomenal. I've spent the last 2 years working with my previous students and listening to feedback to make the program more manageable to absorb, easier to implement, and offer more support tools to help salespeople of any level achieve their goals. Now, it's just a 5-week program that systematically shows salespeople how to reach elite sales status quickly. And in the program, I break down the 4 levels of sales performance evolution in detail and show someone how to determine where they are on the model, what they need to focus on for immediate improvement, how to get the fastest improvement in the 4 key performance factors for sales, and then how to implement and sustain these new skills for lasting improvement. It is the exact same approach I use with my individual coaching clients that pay me at least $20,000 a year. And I guarantee the results, and the guarantee is very simple. Not only can someone cancel within 30 days for any reason and get a full refund, but if they don't believe that they received 25 times the value they paid for the program in the first year, I will refund all of their money as well. It can't be any simpler or risk-free. The reason I created the 2020 incentive is really to help fulfill my mission. I want 2020 to be the best year ever for as many salespeople as possible. So the first 2,020 people who sign up, I'm offering 1% Selling 2.0 at half its normal price and throwing in 3 huge bonuses. First, I'm giving them my Influence Selling program for free. Now, Influence Selling is a new expanded version of my popular previous program called Presentation Mastery. Influence selling will not only make you a master at delivering powerful and effective presentations, but it will teach you how to be a master of influence and persuasion in any selling situation. See, selling is simply about influence, convincing people to see the need to move from their current state to their desired state and then persuading them to take action sooner than later. In every single interaction you have with your prospects and customers, you must exert your influence. But 75% of all salespeople do the exact opposite and kill their chances for success. So influence selling teaches salespeople how to quickly become experts in the art of influence and persuasion. And that program is normally worth almost $500, and I'm giving that for free as part of this 2020 promotion. And the second bonus is free access to my complex selling program. Today almost every deal seems to be complex with multiple decision makers, long decision cycles, multiple options, and multiple competitors. Did you know that 2/3 of all complex opportunities worked by salespeople get lost to no decision? Now, losing to no decision is worse than losing to a competitor because there was never a chance to win to begin with. It was a complete waste of time and effort. And in almost every one of these situations, the rep could have determined that in the first 1 or 2 calls. Complex selling teaches salespeople how to establish and maintain the most important thing in winning these opportunities: control. Elite salespeople establish and maintain control from the very first interaction with the prospect, and I will show you how they do it in this program. Complex selling also costs $500, and I'm providing that for free as well. But the third bonus is really something special, and is something that is near and dear to my heart. I absolutely hate seeing good salespeople being made to feel like failures. And I've worked with hundreds of salespeople who needlessly feel this way and are either stuck in the wrong positions or with the wrong companies and are not realizing their full potential. But unfortunately, too many salespeople do very little to improve the way that they sell their most important product, themselves. They needlessly kill their chances for better territories, better positions and promotions, and more lucrative opportunities with other companies because of how they present themselves. Not only are they unnecessarily hurting themselves with their public image through simple things like their LinkedIn profile, resumes, cover letters, and other social media outlets, but many are totally unprepared for interviews and give terrible answers to simple questions like, well, tell me about yourself, or why do you want to work for us, or what can I expect if I hire you? So I've spent the past 3 years creating and testing this groundbreaking, comprehensive, multi-dimensional program called personal branding. And personal branding will help any salesperson, regardless of their experience or past level of success, find the perfect sales environment where they can thrive and make the maximum income they deserve. This revolutionary program covers all the bases, from the basics of creating differentiated cover letters, emails, LinkedIn profiles, and resumes that get interviews with the people who make the real hiring decisions. And I'll show you how to proactively reach the key influencers in hiring decisions and how to make a memorable, differentiated impression in just the first 90 seconds. Personal branding teaches proven interviewing techniques that will dramatically increase your chances of getting the position you want, regardless of your previous background or success or amount of job transitions that you may have. I will even show you how to change industries without having to start at the bottom again. Every year, so many salespeople move from job to job, hoping that a new environment or a new manager or a new company is going to be the answer, only to wind up right back where they started after a few months and being even more discouraged. Personal branding will change all of that. Personal branding costs almost $1,500 alone, and I'm giving it away for free as part of this 2020 promotion, and it will also include a free professional sales resume analysis. You would normally pay $500 for that professional service, and it is included for free as part of this 2020 promotion. I believe that everyone has a responsibility to not only live to their fullest potential, but also to give back to others. And there are 3 ways we can give back to others: through our time, our talents, and our treasures. Now, I was so extremely fortunate and blessed very early in my career to have someone who saw the potential in me, and they took their time to mentor me. And if he hadn't done so, I'm not sure I'd have stayed in sales. So I want to give back to others by sharing what I have learned and giving as much of my time to as many salespeople as possible. and let them learn the true way to lasting sales success and personal happiness in an affordable, risk-free way. So this helps me fulfill my mission and hopefully helps thousands of sales professionals fulfill their mission as well and achieve their highest potential.